Hey, KK.
Hey, Anele.
Oh my God, long time no see.
I know. How are you?
Fucking awesome, my friend. How are you?
I'm fantastic now that I'm speaking to you.
Look at you. You look really good for 6 o'clock in the morning. I am so impressed. In my PJs.
That's why I'm a few minutes late.
That's just the way.
And I slept at like 1:30, 1:45 or something. You know, so it's been a hectic evening. Had work to do. I'm trying to get some stuff out before the week ends, in time for Christmas. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm so happy to be chatting to you.
I know. Oh my God, what it's been like 5 years?
Exactly. Yeah, to the T. To the T. Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. How you been?
Crazy. Oh, so good, KK. Like, life is completely different. You know, I live in New Zealand now.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And that in and of itself completely changed my life. Didn't realize in how much fear I lived energetically in South Africa until I left the country. And I was like, oh, this is what life is like. Like, I have no burglar bars anywhere on my house. There's no walls in front of my house. I sleep with my doors unlocked most evenings.
Yeah. Wow.
It's that sense of freedom that didn't realize really what an impact it has on us.
That it had existed before. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So I have my dog here. So if she starts barking, can you edit it out?
That's fine.
Part of the deal.
So yeah, I also have my girlfriend and her son getting up to get ready for work. So if they start making a little bit of noise, hope you'll excuse them.
It's the life of an entrepreneur, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's what I love about it, is keeping it real for people.
Oh yes, that's what it's about.
Yeah, so shall we jump in, and then if we've got time afterwards, catch up?
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
Run out of time.
Definitely. So the thing is, we've already started. So yeah, I'm gonna use this piece in. I'll do a quick introduction now. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is KK Diaz, your A-Game business coach, and I'm back on the outside-in perspective. And today I'm featuring Anele, who is a high-performance and success strategist. Anele is somebody who's currently based in New Zealand, but she's a South African and a high-performance coach that I got to work with about 5 years ago. And I really wanted to bring her in and just catch up, but more than that, to share some wisdom that she has, not only for you, but also for myself, because I'm learning along with everybody else. So Anele, it's been a pleasure spending the last few minutes with you, just catching up a little bit. And yeah, I love seeing you on LinkedIn. So welcome to the show, and thank you for the time that you've made this morning.
Oh, thank you so much for actually having me on the show, KK. It's like, when I get your message, it's like, yay, KK is back. So yeah, it's really such a privilege to be here.
Awesome. Now, before we jump into your brief introduction, let's talk a little bit about the time, because it's 16 minutes past 6 in the morning, my time. What time is it over there?
16 minutes past 5 in the evening.
Wow. So you've had a full day, basically.
And it's been an amazing day. Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Really
so let's talk a little bit about time in terms of, you know, getting up in the morning, you know, really getting up to be ready for the day. Can you, as a coach, as somebody who's done a lot of work in the high performance space, can you give us some context around waking up in the morning and just being able to get yourself ready out and be out and about?
Absolutely. So I'm part of what's known as the 5 a.m. club. So the latest I get up in the morning is 5 a.m. Most mornings it's around 4 though. And for me, it's about setting my day in the way that I control it. I create my day instead of continuously responding to the day. So my first hour is completely dedicated to myself. I do around an hour of journaling, I do meditation, then I go and train, and then I have breakfast, and only then do I even look at technology. And I have found that all of my clients who have implemented this has seen dramatic results in their business. And yes, they're resistant in the beginning. It's like, oh my God, Anele, I can't get up at 5. And then it's like, well, what time are you going to bed at night? Oh, around 12. And then I'll go, well, what are you doing for the last hour? Oh, I'm just zoning out at the TV. And I'm like, that's so unproductive, you know? So part of being able to get up at 5 in the morning is having the discipline to go to bed at a decent time so that you still have sufficient sleep and you're able to get up. So my biggest thing for all entrepreneurs, stop rolling out of bed and just immediately looking at your phones and starting to react to the world. Own at least an hour for yourself and create what it is that you want from that space.
It's beautiful. I love that. So let's circle back. Please tell the audience who you are and what you do.
So I'm just this little old lady who came from South Africa. You know, so I've had such a blessed journey. I'm originally from South Africa, started coaching 11 years ago after having studied psychology, being blessed with suicidal depression, and then finding coaching because psychology was just horrible. When I went to the shrink, it was just disgusting. So started coaching, and it was just immediately love, right? It was that sensation of, we acknowledge the past, but where are you and where do you want to go? And then bridging the gap that just had me on fire all the time. And I started off working mostly with entrepreneurs. I had some authors, I had some coaches, and then really went into more of the high performance space with CEOs and executives. And a big part of that shift was a part in my own journey, a shift in my own journey when I started doing cycling and competitive racing. And what I started understanding and noticing was my mindset started changing. I was way more focused. I was in the zone a lot of the time. And that actually took me to a different way of thinking, a different way of showing up. And then I was able to connect with a different level of person. So I've been doing this now for 11 years, moved to New Zealand 3 years ago, loving every single minute of it. I live in paradise and life is good. You know, life is really amazing right now.
Incredible. I'm so happy for you. And I'm really blessed and privileged to have worked with you 5 years ago when you were a coach of mine. And that was just before I left to climb Kili. And then when I came back, you know, you were that person that sort of ignited, that was a catalyst for me writing the book, The Climb. You know, I had always wanted to be an author, but having done the climb, when I came back, I figured, you know, what is the next mountain that I must summit? And you were that person that said, hey, that I have to share that story. And I'm really grateful. I'm now on book number 4, and in the space of 5 years, you know, for me, that's high performance in as much as it may have been in that one space, and obviously a few other spaces that I've been able to sort of replicate myself. Tell us a little bit about what it takes for somebody to truly unlock that high performance when they don't have access to somebody like you.
You know, everybody has access to somebody like me. So I want to just state that right up front. Okay. You know, even myself, so I have elite private clients that I work with, but there's always other opportunities for people to work with people like myself. But what needs to happen is people need to be hungry. They have to get to that point where they kind of say to themselves, I have a burning desire and I am going to do whatever it takes in order for me to achieve that goal. And the moment that you say that to the universe, doors start opening up. So it's a lot of the time I find people are looking externally to be motivated. They're always sitting on, you know, Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube watching motivational movies and stuff and thinking that's going to unlock something for them. And they get all hyped while they're watching it. And then because they now think that they're in that space, they fool themselves into thinking that they're a high performer. But high performance comes from inside. It's when you actually say to yourself, I'm done with the way things are right now. I'm no longer available for the way things are right now. that unlocks the key inside of you. Now you start actively opening yourself up to mentors and coaches and surrounding yourself with people who are already at the next level. Now, this is a big thing for people because there is so much shame in the world around, how much money we have and the cars we drive and what we wear and all that social bullshit, quite frankly. Yeah. What you're after is the vibration of the person who's at the next level. Now, it could start with something as stupid as having coffee in a high vibrational environment where you see a lot of other business people sitting, having coffee on their laptops. And it's just about connecting to that energy. And slowly but surely, what you will find is the way that you think changes. You start seeing opportunities that you haven't seen before. And there are more than enough books out there. There's so much information on the internet. Like, there's no excuse for people not to tap into wisdom anymore. Yeah. But I also want to say this. I have learned that if we do not invest in ourselves, the amount that we receive is limited. It's as if we have a container, and if all you ever want is having everything for free, your container is pretty shallow. So even though you receive wisdom and people share everything with you, once the container is full, everything starts running out the sides. And I always find it so interesting that people say, I want to make lots of money, but I'm not prepared to invest anything in myself. Yeah. Well, honey, you have to choose. Do you want to believe in abundance or do you want to believe in scarcity? Because if you believe you don't have money, you're not going to believe other people have money to invest in whatever it is that you're offering the world. So even if you start off with the tiniest little bit of investment, you'll already start receiving more wisdom. And then you just keep on making your container bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more you do that, the more you will expand your mind and the more you will actually receive from people. So you can literally have the same conversation with somebody that you've paid 5 Rand for and 500 Rand for. If you have paid 500 Rand, you will hear things differently than when you paid 5 Rand. But it doesn't mean you can't start at 5 Rand.
Yeah. Wow.
So don't have access, that's a story. Everybody has access, but you have to ask sometimes.
Yeah. Wow, Anele, that was so profound, so profound. I'm dumbfounded. Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, now I honestly have to recollect my thoughts. I was so punchy, and again, I'm really grateful. Now, as somebody who lived in South Africa and now you've moved overseas, you live in New Zealand, tell us a little bit about that perspective in terms of your own perspective of where you were versus where you are now. And then what I'd like to speak about is your perspective of South Africans relative to what you are seeing of us, around the things that are clearly just stupid, that we really need to dumb down or at least just completely avoid. Versus the things that are beautiful about us as South Africans that we need to do a lot more of. Can you share with us a little bit around that?
Absolutely. So it was really interesting because when I first arrived here, I was a little bit shocked. New Zealand is like South Africa 17 years ago. Wow. I'm not even kidding.
Wow. Wow.
They're way behind in thinking, in technology, in all those types of things. So majority of my business is online. Most of my clients are in America, in Europe, and some South African clients as well. Very few of them are actually in New Zealand. But what was interesting for me was how I opened up from the move. We were chatting earlier on, that when I arrived here, I was like, whoa, I never realized how scared I was in South Africa. Now, having said that, scared, but pretty badass, right? I was out at 4 a.m. on my bike, like every day, riding out to the cradle to go train for Ironman. So I wasn't being a little bitch, but you know what I've come to realize is we're made up of energy, and that fear actually comes and sits in our energy. And there is definitely a contraction when we start living like that, and we don't realize it until we change our environment. So the first thing that I'm going to say to people in South Africa who are serious about expanding their business, you have to start traveling. For, I don't care how small your budget is, go to a space in South Africa that's just safer than where you are right now, so you can de-stress and actually feel the difference and start expanding a little bit.
Wow.
So that was huge for me. And then when I started feeling more safe, my thoughts became more creative, and I started receiving more money. Because here's another thing that I learned. It didn't feel safe to be seen in South Africa, and it didn't feel safe to receive large amounts of money for me in South Africa.
Wow.
And if we do not feel safe, we are not able to receive.
Yeah.
And this is especially relevant for a lot of women everywhere across the world. Whenever I start working with entrepreneurial women and there is a block to their money coming in, the first thing we start doing is journaling on, it's safe for me to receive money. It's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to receive and keep large amounts of money. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're either not receiving money or you're making money and not keeping it, so like you're making more and more, and yet every single month you have less and less, then I would definitely delve into, do I feel safe in having money? And if not, you need to start changing that around.
Yeah.
So those are the types of things that I really started becoming aware of after the move, which I never even crossed my mind while I was living in South Africa. But let's just say South Africa rocks. Yeah. When it comes to having balls, like South Africans are way ahead of the Kiwis. Love you guys, but seriously, South Africans are very gutsy. They go for it full out. They're prepared to take the risks, but follow through is not always so great.
Yeah.
So there's always both sides of the coins for everybody.
No, true. I know personally I'm also guilty of that. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I want to quickly talk to you about something. But just before I do that, the little one is here. I wanna just ask that the mommy come and get him, just so we don't get disturbed on that last point. Just give me a sec.
Okay.
How are you? You fine? Okay, mommy. Okay, please come and get him. Cafe, Anele. So cute. He's 4.
Oh,
yeah.
Mine is 16 and 18 now. Can you believe it? Very sweet.
Nice. All right. So, yeah, let me just give him a few seconds to go downstairs. So cool. We were watching Batman last night.
Oh my God.
The cartoon series.
And he's 4.
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah. And we were fighting about who's Batman, him or I, because he's always Superman. But last night I figured I was Batman, So it really broke my heart that I couldn't be Batman last night. But anyway.
So were you Robin instead?
I guess. Yeah, I can live with that. I can live with that.
How the mighty has fallen.
So yeah. Anele, just circling back on one or two points that you touched on, I want to talk about the the 5 Rand versus the 500 Rand and just the entitlement around being free, or rather, having not paying for anything, expecting things to come free while expecting to generate millions and millions of income, but not actually investing in yourself and not investing in your development and so on. So a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I got the opportunity to speak at Dr. Richard Maponya's entrepreneurship conference in Soweto. And, it had been a while since I'd actually been in the hood. And because a lot of the work that I do, I speak and I work, tons with urban-based, metropolitan kind of city-based entrepreneurs who are, who've got context, who've been in business for some time. And so I thought, let me go. They invited me. I thought I'm gonna do this, and it was a point of reflection for me to give me an opportunity to kind of go back and say, my mother lives in Soweto, yes, but I don't necessarily go to see my mom to talk about business. I go to see my mom to see my mom. And so I got the opportunity to go and speak to a group of entrepreneurs. There were just over 100 of them. It was about an hour. And after that presentation I did, I waited until the end. There was some pitching happening. And a lot of them really wanted to work with me. And yes, I'm starting a business accelerator myself in Sandton and in Cape Town in 2019. So I figured, can I extend the opportunity to my people in Soweto, and which I did. And over the last 2 weeks, I then pitched, to a few of them who really wanted to work with me. There's about 20 of them. I figured, look, I can do a class, even if I have to do it on a Saturday. It'll give me an opportunity to go and see my mom afterwards, or whatever the case may be. However, 7-10 days later, I haven't heard from anybody, and I know they've read my messages. I'm in touch with some of the other people who are supposed to be supporting me with the accelerator in Soweto. And so I'm asking myself a couple of questions, do I reach out back to them and ask them, because today is D-Day, Wednesday, today is D-Day, in terms of us deciding whether, the accelerator is going to kick off in the new year or not. I do charge at least 2,000 Rand for somebody to attend a 1 day, full day workshop. They'll get a manual, it'll be in a nice, fancy little, environment. There's aircon, there's nice food. And so I figured, look, let me take away all the fancy stuff, to kind of make it accessible to this group of young people, and discounted it, by 75%. And so we're sitting where, I'm asking them to pay 500 Rands towards this workshop program, which will run for 10 to 12 months, depending on just their hunger, which is something you touched on earlier. And I'm disappointed that I haven't heard anything back from them. And so I'm asking myself, do I reach out to them? Do I call it off? Considering I would have wanted them to want this more than me, if you understand what I'm saying, and because this is what they expressed. And now, 10 days later, nobody said anything. Can you talk to me a little bit about whether it's my responsibility to reach out? Talk to me about entitlement. Talk to me about how do we collectively move forward as people who want to achieve great things, but yet we're not investing in or just expressing the hunger that we should be.
Mm-hmm. So I think that talk is cheap. I think that people are always saying they want to be successful. I think that people are all saying that they want to have their own businesses. Yeah. But I also have seen that 99% of people, excuse my French, are lazy fuckers. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to invest in themselves. They honestly want everything for nothing, and they wonder why business fails.
Yeah.
For me as a coach, it's not my job to reach down and feed you. Yeah. It's my job as a coach to make the offer slightly higher than what you're currently at, so that you can find within yourself the strength to reach up and step up. And this is something that I really had to learn the hard way in my own life, because I've been through more than one occasion when business was really, really bad. I have lived through bankruptcy. I have had the sheriff taking away my furniture. I have been through all of that. Make no mistake. And I remember that at one stage I was saying, please God, I really need a miracle. This cannot go on any longer. And literally the next morning I woke up and there was a coach with an offer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to have this offer. I have to work with this coach. And I reached out to her and I said, how much is it to work with you? And she said, it's 60,000. And I was like, and I said to her, okay, you know what? I don't have 60K right now. how long do I have to get the money? And she said, we're starting next week. And I said to her, hold my space. We'll make a plan. I will be there.
Yeah.
Hold my space.
Yeah.
And she said, fine, I'm holding your space. Well, honey, I went to the banks. I started asking for credit cards. I started asking for loans. I went and hustled everybody who owed me money. I started putting new offers out there, and it arrived.
Wow.
So I got the deposit that was for the first month. It was 20, and I paid the deposit, and I was like, I have no fucking clue how I'm going to make the rest, but I'm in.
Yeah.
And somehow I made the money, and it was the best investment of my life.
Wow.
Now, I am not seeing that level of hunger in majority of people these days.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, what you need to start understanding is everything that you desire, really desire, not talk, desire, right? Everything that you are asking for is already there. It's already available. But this is what I've learned as well. The universe has a way of putting it just above eye level, because the universe wants growth.
Yeah.
If it's not growing, it's dying, right? Nothing stands still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward.
Yeah.
So the universe will always put what you need just above eye level, so that you can look up, and so that you can step up and take what is available for you to get to where you truly want to be.
Mm.
But the universe is not going to piggyback you to success. So for me, at the end of the day, there's two things. I would absolutely send out an email and go, guys, this is like last call. If you do not have a reply by this time today, the doors are closed. And then it's their responsibility.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. I love that. Anele, thanks again for spending this time with us. Any one last or two nuggets from you?
I want to say, if this is especially a South African audience, guys, people around the world are more similar than what they are different. Whatever you are going through, your fears, your struggles, your insecurities, every single person on the world is going through the same stuff. Stop telling yourself a story that South Africa is any different from any other part of the world.
Yeah.
Because every country, the grass might be greener, but majority of the time it's because there's more shit, right? So nothing like a little bit of compost. And also think bigger. Think bigger. I still have South African clients who are thinking like everything has to be local. The internet has opened up the whole world for you for business.
Yeah.
The whole world. The sky is the limit. And especially South Africans can make a killing because you can charge US dollars while you're paying rent in rands.
Yeah.
So start looking beyond what you're currently seeing. Start looking at what everybody else is doing in the world, and don't reinvent the wheel. Like, do what's working right now.
Yeah.
And the sky's the limit. Like, seriously, country is not an excuse anymore.
Wow. Wow, I'm so pumped up now, it's not even funny. So yeah, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure spending time with you. And I think I myself took too long to reach out to you. So I'll definitely be doing more of that in the new year. And I definitely want to work with you. I'm hoping we can solidify something and just make it a little bit more official. Because I myself, just like you, I wanna start doing a lot more work overseas, whether I do it virtually or whatever the case may be. And I'm hoping you can guide me on that. So I really appreciate the time you spend with us. And I think anybody who hasn't taken out at least 5 things that you've said today, I think they're not hungry enough, like you said. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And I do look forward to catching up with you again. I want to wish you happy holidays and all the best for the new year. I know I'll have a much greater year because I'll definitely be working with you. You're one of those people who unlocked great value and great, insight and wisdom for me. That's really helped me to achieve the greatest that I've been able to achieve in my life. So thanks again, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, KK. It's going to rock.
Thank you. All right. Cheers. Cheers, everyone. Catch up with you again next time. Cheers.